Sheriff Scot Israel is the sheriff in Broward County, Florida, where 17 students, unfortunately, were just killed in a mass shooting. It was at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And since that happened, he's come out pretty strongly in favor of gun control. And Republicans are all over him because of that. So first, I want to take a moment here and look at Dana Loesch, who debated him last week at a CNN town hall.
Because I have kids, and I'm not just fighting for my kids, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for all of you. So that answers your question with that.
Just interject for a second, though, and I understand you're standing up for the NRA, and I understand that's what you're supposed to do. But you just told this group of people that you are standing up for them. You're not standing up for them until you say, I want less weapons.
So that was a great moment. And Kyle, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, he's in trouble. Because the NRA and the right wing do not tolerate that kind of public dissent. So, and it's not just about politicians. I mean, look, they're targeting the survivors, right? In that case, it's mainly the alt-right and the trolls but some portions of, I don't know if there is such a thing as the legitimate right wing, but calling them crisis actors, et cetera. When a cop, a sheriff in this case, in his uniform, calls out the NRA on national television, they're gonna come for him. And so, of course, they have.
Yeah, I thought the badge and the uniform might make them hold off a little bit, but I was wrong.
No, but
it didn't do the trick.
Yeah, of course, the new Republican Party is a little to a lot different than the old Republican. The old Republican Party was for free trade. The new Republican Party is theoretically against free trade. It's a little complicated, but
yeah, they're still for it. Yeah, I would be with them if they were against free trade.
I know,
yeah.
but that's at least what Donald Trump sold them during the election, and the new Republican Party kind of hates cops. So they hate the FBI, which is the top law enforcement agency. They talk against them all the time. And if you're a cop who says, hey, by the way, I don't like all these guns in the neighborhood, one, because they kill cops, two, because they kill the citizens we're supposed to protect, well, then you're a marked man. So the only question is how they're going to come after him.
Right, so it's actually worse than that, though, because Republicans decided to take it a step further. So the Miami Herald reports here, cheers from the students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School have been drowned out by demands from dozens of state lawmakers that he be suspended from office for incompetence and neglect of duty. Queries about acts of heroism have been replaced by a state investigation into why one of his deputies waited while teenage gunman Nicholas Cruz killed 17 and wounded 15 more with an assault rifle. Now, the Florida House Speaker, Richard Corcoran, said of Sheriff Israel, the failures of Sheriff Israel and his deputies during and after the horrific shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14, 2018, and their failures to intervene regarding Nicholas Jacob Cruz in the years, months, and days leading up to that shooting are unacceptable and unforgivable. As a result of Sheriff Israel's failures, students and teachers died. So I think what they're trying to do here is deflect from the obvious conversation, the elephant in the room, which is, hey, what should we do about our insanely weak gun laws? And so these are diversion tactics, and it looks like it kind of worked because we really are having a conversation now about that.
Oh, no, it completely worked. What drives me crazy about mainstream media is how oblivious they are to political gaming. So they're just like, what do you think we're covering politics? Like, yeah, that's what you're pretending to do. You're pretending to cover the news and the politics. So it didn't occur to you that the Republicans don't want to talk about gun control and hence will look for diversionary tactics just like this one? It didn't occur to you that when the sheriff spoke out against the NRA that the right-wing politicians owned by the NRA would then target the sheriff? Are you in the news business? And so I don't know if it's naivete or their just insistence on not wanting to be called liberal and neutrality, et cetera. But those are two main reasons they're going after the sheriff in this case. And look, there's one other thing that they need to be called out on, and we'll do it. Again, the mainstream media almost certainly will not do it, which is them saying like, oh, I can't, not only did the guy not go in. Now look, you put a guy at a post, you tell him to go in and he doesn't go in. I literally don't know what you're supposed to do about that. And afterwards you immediately get rid of him. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of him, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not totally sure what else you're supposed to do, although I do have thoughts on their training in a second. But in terms of the second point from the Republican politician you just read the quote from, Kyle, he said, oh, he should have done something about Nicholas Cruz, the shooter, before the shooting. Really? First of all, the NRA, which you wholeheartedly support and back, says that they shouldn't do anything about the mentally ill. So, and what's your standard? Because if your new standard is anyone who's ever gotten treatment gets their guns taken away, I'll agree to that standard. I know a lot of people who've gotten treatment won't agree to that, and the NRA will be furious and go vote for it. Hey, you're a Republican politician in Florida, you're an important one. Why don't you introduce the bill? In fact, if Sheriff Israel had gone after the shooter ahead of time and said, I'm taking your guns away because you once got treatment and somebody complained about you, the Republicans would have been foaming at the mouth. Second Amendment, how could you do this to a wonderful American who exercising his rights? If it's the new standard, I agree right away, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. They're saying, yeah, why didn't you do something about it? And your response is, yeah, I agree. The guy was out of his mind, and it was clear. He was posting on YouTube under his own name. He would make the argument, I'm going to do a mass shooting. Like, he said that openly. I am going to be a professional mass shooter under his name on YouTube. And if you're going to have a universal background check, why wouldn't that be included? Why wouldn't you comb through people's social media accounts? And if they have statements like, I don't know, I'm going to do a mass shooting, you say, okay, well then you're not going to get guns.
Well, if we're looking at people's social media accounts now, if that's really the Republican proposal, that's fascinating. My guess is a lot of your voters aren't going to agree with that. Certainly your supporters online aren't going to agree with that. Because I don't think it has to be as specific as I'm going to do a mass shooting. In this case it was. But if you threaten violence online, and the other things that they had against the shooter were, he killed small animals. Some people call that hunting, okay? But I don't, I think that's dangerous, but some people revel in it. Mitt Romney bragged about how he killed vermin, okay, and rodents or whatever with his gun, which is preposterous, but anyway, and then he showed his guns, and they said, that's so dangerous, he showed his guns all over social media. We're gonna take away the guns of people showing their guns on social media and saying violent things? Wonderful. Do you know how many right-wing guns we're gonna take away? You don't mean that for a second. All you wanna do is blame the sheriff because you didn't like what he said on national TV, and you want everyone to desperately look away.
Yeah, and he actually responded and said the following: leaders are responsible for the agency, but leaders are not responsible for a person. I gave him a gun, I gave him a badge, I gave him the training. If he didn't have the heart to go in, that's not my responsibility. And by the way, now there's an official state investigation into the sheriff and his department, and 73 Republicans want him to step down. I think 73 Florida Republicans, Florida elected Republicans.
Yeah, so the only part that I'll agree with in this argument by the Republicans is some of the, in a related but slightly different, it's the same case, but not about the guy who didn't go in. They say that a lot of the cops took too long to go in once they arrived, okay? So, but that's exactly what we've been warning you about, which is that the cops are now trained that their lives are more important than the citizens' lives. So if it's an unarmed guy, but it looks like he might have a comb or he might have a knife or he might have something, who cares, shoot him dead. You never take a chance with your own life. Well, if you keep telling the cops over and over again, you know the old line about better to be judged by 12 than carried out by 6, which is what they tell almost every cop in the country. Like, don't carried out by 6 if that's your pallbearers, you don't want to get shot, who cares, the juries are going to let you off anyway. It's like the worst saying in America. In other words, who cares about the citizens, just protect yourself. Then we're all surprised that cops are reluctant to go into an active shooting because they were trained that their lives are more important than the citizens' lives, and they should never ever take a risk with their life. The training sucks, and that is all across the country. Again, Republicans, you want to fix that training and tell the cops don't shoot unless you're sure that it's a grave threat to your life. You want to tell them, hey, make sure that you rush in and take more risks with your life in order to protect the citizens? Deal. So we've got 2 deals here today if you'd like to actually take them. But it's not about that, right? It's about blaming someone else and making sure there's no gun control.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with having the conversation about where the cops did and didn't mess up. No problem with that at all. But the whole point of this is they want you to take your eye off the ball for the real conversation, which is we have insanely lax gun laws, which have gotten us to the point where 32,000 people die every year in America because of gun violence. So, we can change that. We can choose to change that, but they're trying to divert from that conversation by any means necessary.
You just watched the video by the Young Turks, home of the revolution. If you'd like to get a lot more than that, get the full show by becoming a member. tytnetwork.com/join.